already in the room. So guys, please unmute yourself and introduce yourself. Let's get an understanding of the expectation for today's session. I know that, yes, we've already done the regular data gathering and the likes, but it'd be nice to actually hear each other's voices to know where we are and what we're looking to get out of the session today. Shiba, let me start with you. Hi, Shiba. Hello. If you're speaking, you're muted. Guys, please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Oh, hi, Miracle. Okay. Okay. So again, welcome everybody. We're about to get started. Hi, Shiba. Good evening. I was hoping to hear our voices. Are we shy? I did not say turn on your cameras. I said I just want to hear your voices. Let's just get a feel of what we're looking to get out of the session this evening. Okay, so I'll just start with Adeyemi. Hi, Adeyemi. Do you mind introducing yourself and then maybe sharing a bit of the expectations you have from the session this evening?
Okay. Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. Yeah. From the topic says about software, how to travel as a software engineer.
Yes.
For me, I'm expecting. Okay, I saw a caption on Twitter. It says to be a software engineer means solving problems. That's the difference between being a software engineer and a software developer. So I'm coming from a developer end, so I want to get more knowledge about how to thrive as a software engineer, because I shared an idea of, so I like solving problems also. So it will be a great opportunity for me to learn more about that.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. Welcome, everyone. Who else wants to share? We're just going to take like 2 more people and then we'll get right into the session. Our facilitator is already here. We just want to get an understanding of your expectations this evening just before we start the session. I'm going to call on Pelumi. Hi, Pelumi. Pelumi, are you here? Can you hear me? I know I'm working with devs this evening, but we can't be this shy now. Guys, come on.
I can hear you.
Fantastic. Since you're muted yourself, hi, Ari. Do you mind just let us know what your expectations are for this evening, your name, what you do, and your expectation for the session? Hello. Ari, did you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Let me get what you said again.
Oh, I said you should introduce yourself, your name, what you do, and your expectations of the session this evening.
Okay, my name is Ari Intia. Presently, I work with. Do you get me?
Yes, I did. Please go on.
Okay, Ari Intia. So I'm a beginner trying to engage in learning coding, but I'm actually looking at front end at the present now.
Okay.
So actually from all the previous this we've been having, I think they have really been sinful. I think I've gotten a lot from it. Now today, I think I'm hoping to still learn more regarding, because I've seen the need to learn more regarding the previous people that we have had. So when I look from where I am now, I know that I've not really started.
Okay, you're in the right place. All right, thank you so much for sharing. And just before we start, I think that we should, considering that the community groups is hosted by a church, I'd like for us to start with an opening prayer. And so, Vivian, do you mind helping us with that? Hi, Vivian.
Hi, hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay,
Please help us.
all right. Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for protecting and guiding us and keeping us safe all through the day. We bless this meeting into your hands and hope that it goes well. Whatever everyone here is hoping to achieve, I hope that they achieve it and learn something new.
Amen.
In Jesus' mighty name, we pray.
Amen. Thank you so much for that, Vivian. And so, without further ado, I'll be welcoming our facilitator this evening. As you already know, I already made an introduction on the group chat. His name is Miracle Nwabueze. He also happens to be my colleague. I think that that's one of the things I take pride in, the fact that he is my colleague, right? And so I'll read out his bio and then we can welcome him and then he takes up the floor, right? So give me a second. So everyone meets Miracle Nwabueze. With over 7 years of experience working in the tech industry, Miracle has used his skill to push technological innovations within and outside Nigeria. Currently a senior software engineer at Traction Apps, where he helps build solutions that make payments easy and accessible to small, medium, and large enterprise scale businesses. Please welcome Miracle. Miracle, we're blessed to have you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. And good evening, everybody. And yes, thank you very much, Chika, for the introduction. I was just imagining this was all of us live, and I was just thinking about the clap that would have been hearing. But don't worry about that.
I'm clapping still.
Yeah. Anyway, how is everybody's day? Can I have more like two people just tell me randomly what they did today? What made their day interesting?
Hi guys.
Hello, Tele.
I'm fine. My name is Oluwatele Olafumi. What made my day interesting? I had private time. I had relaxing day. It has been a productive day. And the major I watched a movie.
Oh, great.
I had time for myself, at least to recharge for the month strategically.
That's great. That's great. I love that. I love that. Who else? One more person.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I'm Chiagozi Oscar by name. Today, I'm very happy today because I started learning my JavaScript today, and I spent some hours while learning it, and I'm happy I've started a programming course, a programming language today. So that's just it. Thank you so much.
That's beautiful.
That's nice. Voila for no get late.
Okay. So let me go ahead and share my screen, okay? And I would make this class a whole lot more interesting, okay? And I also want all of us to, to also try as much as possible to generally just, give me your time and also be participatory, okay? So let's go. So today we're talking about how to thrive as a software engineer. I don't know, I'm just going to ask this question. Two people have answered, but let me also ask one or two more persons. What do you think thriving as a software engineer means? Can I get one person? Well, let me quickly pick someone. so that the class is not Adeyemi or Adewumi. Can I hear from you? What do you think thriving as a software engineer means?
So Adeyemi, right? Sorry.
Is that?
Hello, everyone.
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Adewumi Adeboye. I'm thriving as a software engineer. Firstly, of course, a software engineer is someone that is well trained and knows exactly what he's doing. And thriving is going ahead in the career and making notable marks and influences along the way. That's all I can say for now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Let me choose from below the list. Shay, can you tell me what you understand, or what do you think it means? Hello, Shay. I would randomly ask questions, right? So I would want all of us to, be ready to unmute. Okay, let's go with Favor. Favor, can you talk to us? What do you think it means? Favor Hamilton. Okay, somebody is raising hand. Aritek. Okay, go ahead. Tell me what you think it means.
Okay, like what I understand there, I think you're trying to say just the way to grow as a software engineer, which is one of the point I was looking at. I need to know the various steps that took you to this stage you are, because as a beginner now, working at the same time, trying to learn how to code is really difficult. So what you said here, how to thrive as a software engineer, is really important. But what do you just mean here? I think you are trying to tell us how to grow as a software engineer. That's what I understand.
Okay, that's the both of you have very beautiful suggestions. And today, this is probably what we're going to be speaking about. First of all, we want to define what is software engineering, okay? Then the second is that we're going to be talking about our stories. Sorry, there's a typo there. We're going to be discussing about our stories. All of us have stories, and I'm going to be taking stories from all of us, okay? And then I'm going to be talking about my journey to becoming a senior software engineer, okay? And then we're going to also talk about why should you be a software engineer. Most of these items are crafted from the class of people we have here. I understand that we'll have people who want to get into software. I also understand that we'll have people who are existing software engineers who want to grow, who are seeking for more opportunities and have a need to grow. And I also understand that we'll have very experienced people here. And lastly, I understand that I will also have other tech professionals there. We'll have product managers, we'll have QA people, we have we'll have data analysts and a whole lot of other people. So our conversation here would actually benefit everybody. And then we'll also discuss software engineering archetypes, okay? And then we'll talk about growing as a software engineer. We'll also talk about finding opportunities. Now we're going to localize finding opportunities, first of all, to Nigeria. Okay, how do we find opportunities within Nigeria? And then we're going to discuss searching for roles outside Nigeria. And definitely, we'll close, we take questions and we answer a whole lot of questions and we'll go ahead and have a great day. Okay? So the first thing I want to ask, before I go ahead, sorry, I showed that expo. I'm going to ask another question. I'm going to randomly pick someone who is going to tell me what he or she thinks software engineering is. Share, are you here? Randomly, Share, can you tell me what do you think software engineering is? Even if you're not a software engineer, just speak to me.
Sorry, is it Shay? Shay.
Okay, if Shaya is not available, then she can speak. Shaya Shobanjo, are you there? Okay, Shaya, you can go ahead. Let me hear from you, Shaya.
Okay, so like somebody said, more or less software engineering could be things related to the structural element of a product or of of a particular product or service that's been formed. Somebody that manages the structural element of it, the internal build.
Okay, nice one. Barakat, can you speak to me?
Hi, sorry, what was the question? I'm just coming back to my desk. Sorry.
Okay, that's understandable. So I said, what do you think software engineering is? If you're just asked and somebody say, what's software engineering? What do you think?
Software engineering to me is the way of leveraging tech to solve people's problems and to make life easier. That's how I see it.
I like that. So can I get from one more? Mark and David. Mark and David.
Oh, sorry. I was going to mention that Ire Tomide dropped the comments in the chat. She said software engineering is the development of mobile and web solutions.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Let me hear you.
I don't know. It looks funny, but it just came into my head. Software is the act of creating something and
Okay.
making it work.
Yeah. You're still correct. Okay. So I'll go ahead and show what I think is my own definition, because everybody's correct. Okay. But then I'll shed more lights, and I'm going to be mentioning some things that, they might sound controversial, but just hold on it. By the time we're done with today's session, you probably understand them better. Okay. So firstly, software engineering. Sorry. So software engineers are computer science professionals. Everything I put in bold are controversial. Okay. So that's why I say they are going to be controversial, right? Because you might ask yourself, I'm a botanist, and I'm a botanist. I read botany in school, but then I'm writing code today. Why are you saying computer science professional? So everything is controversial. But then I'm going to say software engineers are computer science professionals who use engineering principles. You probably would also be hearing engineering principles. And you're like, okay, but then engineering I didn't do engineering in school. I would learn engineering principles. And programming languages to build software and run network-controlled systems. That's plenty of English, Abby. Is that too much English?
It's actually a lot of English.
Okay. Okay, I'll break it down, right? So that we understand. So first of all, software engineers, okay? I would say they use computer science fundamentals. So take off the professionals, right? I'm rephrasing this. So they use computer science fundamentals combined with engineering principles and programming languages to build software and run/control systems. In case you're jotting down, you can make it a lot easier for yourself. So I said number one, they use computer science fundamentals and engineering principles and programming languages. These three things: computer science, engineering principles, and programming languages to build softwares that run systems. So take out all of that English. Now, there's a reason why I put engineering principles there, because you might be asking yourself, why do they call these boys software engineers? Most of them just carry data. They didn't go to school. They're just easy. Whenever you dread your hair, does that make you a software engineer? Okay. Does probably wearing short knickers and walking around the whole place, does that make you a software engineer? What brings about the engineering? This person obviously didn't do engineering in school. So that's why I talked about principles. So first of all, you might say, what are principles? Okay, engineering principles there. So I went further to explain. Engineering principles are ideas, rules, or concepts that need to be kept in mind when solving an engineering problem. Take, for instance, when a bridge is being built in Lagos, they have principles they don't have to go against, else there will be deaths. People will die, obviously, because the bridge might collapse. Okay, they have principles of compression, principles of stress, tensile stress, and different types of principles. They have principles of load distribution. Okay, and they make sure they satisfy all these so that, you know, the bridge does not collapse. Same thing with software. You don't just wake up and start building software and say, I'm a programmer. Okay, you have to think, okay, how do I make sure that it works this way? How do I make sure that when we have 1,000 users, my software does not collapse? You know, how do I make sure that it's very easy for people to use? Have you ever used a bank app and used another bank app and you say that this bank app is so stupid? In short, the people that built it are stupid, right? It means that most of them didn't apply engineering principles. They didn't think of ease of use. They didn't think about the form, the shape, right? So these thoughts are what makes someone an engineer, all right? Now there are specialties generally. I would say popular specialties, okay, that exist in software that most of us know. Okay, we have our front end, we have our back end, we have our mobile app engineering, we have systems engineering. Some of you might say, okay, what systems engineering? Okay. So when you think about the core part of what powers automation, right? Why is it that some houses you go, you just say, Siri, open the door, and the door flips open? Okay, those core system programming patterns is what's core systems engineering. Then they have games engineering. You know, some of you like playing FIFA. You know, some of you also like playing games, right? Some of you, you know, just like being on your phone and playing what was these popular phone games that we have that ladies like playing? The one you drag shapes and put 3 in a line and it destroys the building.
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush.
Exactly. So people do that. And then we have DevOps. My access was DevOps. So with DevOps, you're talking about data developer operations. Okay. What makes engineers what they have or what they have built? What makes it go live, right? How do they operate? What guides their operation, all right? That's where we have the DevOps people, okay? And then we'll have data engineers. Before, you know, in Nigeria, data engineering was not a big field, but, you know, there was this rise in startups in Nigeria. People started using internet-powered apps. You probably hear somebody saying PalmPay, OP. You hear somebody say Traction apps. You hear somebody saying First Bank, Zenith Bank. They're using those apps, right? You hear somebody saying Twitter, Facebook. The more you use it, the more data is being collected, and the more that data needs to be handled properly and efficiently, okay? And the more sense needs to be made out from that data. Imagine just liking a picture today, and tomorrow, Twitter or Facebook start showing you suggestions from that picture you liked. You mean that data they got from you liking a picture was built on top, sense was made out of it, and then suggestions were given to you. Both data engineers and AI engineers usually work hand in hand, okay? And for a small startup, data engineers might just be in charge of how the startup stores data, how they manipulate the data to make intelligence out of it, and, you know, a whole lot of concepts there. So it's a lot. I just listed these 7. There are actually more, but then we're going to stop here, okay? So before I go ahead to the next slide, do we like the concepts of software engineering I just explained? Does anybody have any other opinion or what they feel software engineering is? If you have any, you can just put it in the chat, okay? Because our next session is going to be very, very interactive. I'm going to be giving 10 minutes for the next session and we'll talk, okay? Yes. So, you know, most of our stories as software engineers are usually very emotional. I'm going to be saying my own, right? But then I also want to hear from people here. So the first people I want to hear from, probably one person that is probably a year into software engineering or less than a year. I want to hear somebody that is 2 months into software engineering or 3 months or 6 months. Then I want to hear somebody that is above 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, okay? And then I want to hear somebody who doesn't code, probably somebody who does product management, somebody who does digital marketing, all right? Somebody who does another skill. I would want to hear your stories. I'll give 2 minutes to each person. How did you start? What inspired you to start? And what has been keeping your zeal alive? So let's go. Who is the first entry-level person that is going to tell us his or her story? We have 2 minutes. How did you start? What inspired you to start? And what has been the journey so far? Who is an entry-level person here? We have 10 minutes, under 1 year of experience. Is there any entry-level person here? Let's go. I know Convener Nation.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, good evening.
Once again, I'm Chiagozie Oscar by name. And this is my 6th month of practicing coding. I'm a beginner anyway. Starting to learn coding, it has been awesome, and at the same time, it's not been easy for me as a beginner because I've been trying to combine, surviving and coding. It's not that easy for me. What inspired me to start learning how to code is initially during my IT, I thought life is all about being comfortable with what you have and just being comfortable with what you have. But then I met one person in my life that changed that concept. I don't know if you're hearing me.
Yes, we're hearing. Go ahead, please.
All right. So I met this person and I learned a whole lot of things from him. He taught me that life is all about making change or changes in your environment. People, trying to be somebody that people will learn from at every given time. Actually, I know nothing about coding or programming then, but he introduced me to it and he made me understand that that's where the world is moving into right away. He prepared me to start learning it immediately. But as a matter of fact, I couldn't commence. I graduated from school last year and January this year, I started learning coding. At some point, it got tough because I had to combine surviving and coding, like I said earlier. So that's, well, I thank God with the little knowledge I've gotten, like I said earlier, I started learning JavaScript today. And I thank God that so far, so good. That's my story. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much, Oscar. That's really inspiring. A round of applause for him, everybody. You can drop your chats, you can clap, you can scream if you want to. So let's go. We'll have an entry-level person. Can we have somebody who is experienced? Somebody who has spent more than 2 years or so in as a software engineer. Can we have someone, just tell us, how did you start? What inspired you to start? And
Sorry, please, must it be a software engineer?
I have a non-tech person role. Yeah, we'll have one non-tech person. If you look at my screen, we'll have one.
No. I'm saying this because I'm not a software person.
Oh,
but I'm in tech.
Exactly. That's why I said non-coding tech person. That would be the last person I will give his or her experience.
My job role is coding, but it's not a software engineer.
Oh, okay. Let's have it then. Speak to us. So
I'm a data scientist.
Wow, beautiful.
So, okay, my journey so far, I got to realize that I'm in tech. I've been in tech. I did computer science. Mine for me was passion that led me to tech. And it has been an awesome journey so far. And along the line, I get overwhelmed because I found out that technology changes every time. Like today, you say another tools, next tomorrow tools, next tomorrow another tool. So it looks so overwhelming. So I've realized in my journey of tech, it has been amazing. And one of the major things that kept me going is you should make sure as a technical person, you should have the spirit of continuous learning. That was what has helped me in my journey of tech. I started this whole working tech from like 2020 in the real world sense, and I'm still learning and still learning. And also, that's my experiences. Thank you.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful one. I love that. I love that. Can we have one more person? Yeah, before we round up. One more experienced person. You can be software engineers are usually very shy, and I get to understand that. But one more person, probably 3 to 5 years of experience, we want to tap from that wealth of knowledge.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening. My name is Pelumi. This is my about 5 years of being in the software engineer space, and I think I started in school. For me, it was an hobby. I was just writing programs to solve problems, data structure problems, algorithm problems, and it's just intriguing to be able to write code that could solve problem that someone else somewhere in the world designed. And it became more interesting. This was not what I studied in school. I studied electronics and electrical engineering in school. And I think at some point in my 300 level, I asked myself, okay, dude, what do you want to do after school? And I'm like, okay, definitely I want to do something I would enjoy. I mean, nobody told me at that time that you would have times of debugging, the frustrating times of debugging. But yeah, so I ventured into it, started this as a career in 2017, I think mid 2017. And I couldn't agree less with what the last person said about having a continuous growth mindset. Because the truth is, even to succeed in the tech space, you only don't need technical understanding, you also need soft skills. For example, if you get the opportunity to work with people from different countries, culture comes in, then you know how to communicate with people and how to talk to people and how to learn from people. Because yeah, I think that's one thing. Yeah, also there is another thing about not trying to be the smartest person in the room. I know that might sound a lot more weird to a lot of people. Say for instance, when you're in a team, not trying to always be the smart person, because there's this chills that sometimes we get when we know that, oh wow, what I said is smartest that anyone could have come up with. But also trying to learn from the people that you work with, no matter how small, even if you are levels higher than them, or I don't know, there's still something to learn from everyone, right? So I would say keep that learning mindset, keep a mind that says, hey, I want to grow, and also have a growth milestone. Maybe I'm taking above my time already. Like have like a growth milestone to say, okay, in this next quarter, this is what I want to achieve in my career, because you need to start to see it as a career and not a side hustle. It's not a side hustle, it's a career on its own, right? So you need to start to see it as a career and have like career milestones and say, okay, in this next 2 quarters, this is what I want to learn. In this next 1 quarter, this is what I want to learn. In this next 3 quarters, this is what I want to learn. And I think that has really helped me personally to say, And then I look back after those quarters and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm able to achieve 2 out of these 3 goals. And for me, I don't feel sad for that. I achieved 2 goals out of 3. That's like 66%. I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing great. That's a B if I put it to academic grading. And a B is good. We're not an A, but you know what I mean. So having that career milestones really help, because you need to keep growing. You need to keep yourself relevant in the engineering world. Yeah, and I think at this point I think this is one thing also that has kept me going, because even right now I'm still learning. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Belumi. That was great. That was great. I don't know. Hope all of us learned some things here, and I hope everybody was inspired as I was too. Okay, so hope everybody sees my screen. If you can see my screen, say hi. Can everybody see my screen?
Hi.
Okay, that's beautiful. Yes, so we are done with our stories, right? So I think it's time for me to tell mine. Let me see if I can do that first in 5 minutes, okay? So everybody's experience was fantastic. Everybody's experience was fantastic, and I loved the stories I heard. I think we're more inspired from people than we are by ourselves, because in this world, we're created to live with people, learn from people, and literally just do things with the support of people. So whenever I see somebody close to you doing something great, you're inspired. If this person can do it, I can. So I take a whole lot of inspiration from everybody. So my own story, okay? When I was done with secondary school, I was just thinking, when I was in secondary school, my dad was speaking to me and, what do you want to do in school? Okay, so I had this uncle who was working at LNNG at Bonny, and he would always send us money during festive periods, and he always sent us very clean cash, just as if CBN just printed this money from the minting company and just gave him. So it was always, today's bread. I don't know if you've heard about today's bread. So that was how the money was clean. And then, literally from him, we could see a whole lot of lives change around him. And I wanted to be that. I was so much interested in oil money. Okay, I wanted to go into the oil industry. I wanted to be a petroleum. I wanted to go to petrochemical engineering. That was all I wanted to do. Okay. Then, unfortunately for me, I'm saying unfortunately because it's actually unfortunate. So I had one of my brothers. He was schooling in Enugu State at the time. My family were staying in Abuja, and he was coming for IT, and internship was doing mechanical engineering. And then he was all about phone configurations for people for free browsing. That was when Java phones and Symbian phones were very popular, and he brought one. And he had to buy a computer, this big computer that had this big desktop and this big CPU. And then I started typing on it. He brought it home then as part of what he was doing for, learning how to configure mobile phones to browse, and all those GSM books they used to print then. So he was one of those people that wrote those GSM books. So when I was on the computer, I was like, how was this tool made that someone can type and see things? So I quickly scribbled on it. Bill Gates was very popular in Nigeria then. I want to be the next Bill Gates of our time. I didn't know what I meant, right? But then I heard that Bill Gates made that Windows computer we're using. So I just wrote that on one Microsoft sheet that was there. So fast forward to when I was done with school, I was just about applying for JAMB and all those things. My dad asked me again, what do I want to do? Am I still interested in petrochemical engineering? Let's look for the schools that offer that course. So on the second thought, I said, Dad, let me just do computer engineering or computer science. So my brother advised me I did engineering since I could still use it in the oil field if I still want to go there. And that's how I applied for computer engineering. So while I was in school, 2013, we went on one very long ASU strike that lasted for about 6 months. And I had this guy that used to build websites in our church. And that was started telling me, oh, nice, you're doing computer engineering. Why don't you think about C++? And if everybody knows an understanding of computer, of programming languages, you've never written any code and somebody gives you C++, the person literally just wants to hang you. because from the concepts, understanding OOP at first and everything was crazy. So I opened it, took some tutorials, and he gave me some books and dumped it at first because I couldn't cope. I didn't have a working laptop then. So I was just reading it on my mom's phone. Okay. So, but then I just continued with school. Last, we'll learn it later, Abi. So while in school, my first language experience I tried learning was C++. At the later time, I tried Java. I still didn't have a laptop, so I didn't have a way of continuing, right? So I just dumped everything. So it was as good as not learning anything. So it was 400 level. I wanted to go for internship. And I asked myself, bro, you're done with school. What are you going to do with your life? Are you just going to go home, do NYSC, and just start living life like that? It was a question I asked myself internally. That's when I told and everybody during internship then, software is not as popular as it is then. Then it was not this attractive. The people we know then, they were earning 70,000 and 80,000. So it was nothing to write home about at the time. So what I did was I said, okay, let me go and learn, even if it means I have to pay. So I paid one computer institute and I wanted to learn database engineering. Not database engineering, database management, because the semester before then, we did something with Access database. I don't know anybody that is very used to Microsoft's software tools. There was a database tool they had before called Access. You can design databases in your UI, but it was pretty just for bundling for bundling Windows softwares and things like that. So because our lecturer taught us that Access, I wanted to learn more about database. So during my internship, from there, they told me I should learn MySQL. That was the first time I learned it. And it was interesting. But then they say for it, you can't just learn MySQL and just be flying around. Data engineering was not a skill that was very popular then. So they said, okay, you have to learn a language, a backend language, so you can at least communicate with the web and write to a MySQL database. And that's how I learned PHP. Okay. And with that, I was very enthusiastic. To be honest, I was very enthusiastic. I was like, wow, so I can create something on the web, people can register and use. So I quickly set up a website. I was thinking about problems. Then one of my role models was Mark Zuckerberg. I was a big follower of him because I joined Facebook, I think around 2009, 2010, thereabout. So by then I spent about 5 years in Facebook, using Facebook, and I loved how the product was. So I wanted to, build something. I was just inspired. So I built something called Miracle Books. So the Miracle is Miracool. It was inspired by the name Miracle, my name, Books. I was schooling in uni then, a school in Akwa Ibom State. And I wanted one of the challenges people had then were they couldn't save their results. So most times about graduating, they're looking for a result sheet and you can't find it. And the exam officer will tell you that we can't find your results. And it means you have to probably repeat a semester or something. So I wanted to solve that problem. So in my MVP, what I built out as Miracle Books at first, I had that feature, allowing people to save their results. And our school didn't have a result portal then, right? So it means immediately you see your result being pasted on the board, because I don't know how schools do it now, right? But then whenever there's a result, they go and paste on the board. If anybody fails, the person goes and tears it. If I get D or if I get F, with anger, I'll go and tear it apart. So always try and make sure you go and see the result first and quickly go to Miracle Books and put it on. The second thing was people didn't really have money to buy books. So I wanted to make accessible, right? So I started uploading free book materials on there. And finally, that was my MVP. Later, I put in another thing that was called CGP estimation, right? People can estimate, you're starting a new semester, making plans for a semester. How do I project what I should have this semester? Comparing it to past results. It had a little bit of intelligence, but I wouldn't call it AI. I would just call it a whole bunch of if-else statements combined together to just, it looks intelligent. It can predict what you should get in this course, what you should get in that course to achieve this. All right. And with that, I started becoming a bit popular in Akwa Ibom State because tech was not that popular then. And I got my first role. And it's very interesting because the person that introduced me to my first role was one of my teachers where I learned programming. So there was an engineering company, based engineering, that needed somebody that would manage all their softwares and also build new softwares for them. And if you can guess can anybody here guess what my first salary is? Can anybody here guess my first salary? Anybody here can guess? A random guess. Anybody?
So
20K.
That was close. That was close. So my first salary was 25,000. So from 25,000, I'll give the guy that gave me the link to the job 5,000. And then I'll probably spend about 15,000 marketing Miracle books, because I started growing my marketing. I started growing into different countries, different states in Nigeria. And Suka, I was going to Mudike. So I just had 5,000 naira to board, right? And unfortunately, 2018, I wanted to renew for the second year my server subscription, and I didn't have the money. I think it was just about $80-something, and I think then naira was about 150 naira to $1. I couldn't pay for GoDaddy. I was using GoDaddy then because they say it was best secured. I didn't use any cheaper option, and unfortunately, I couldn't maintain the website, the platform again, and it went down. I was a bit furious. I was like, okay, so does it mean this dream is dead? Unfortunately, the dream was not dead. So I helped somebody build the ride hailing app in Enugu, first of its kind in Enugu. So that gave me a boost. I can do this. And then I got a call from Lagos. A company needed me, and that's how I joined. I came to Lagos as a junior software engineer. So then joining the company, we were just about a team of 3 engineers, and the work was heavy. So it meant we had to do a whole lot. And that's how I started, remember, I started with PHP and MySQL. So I was basically backend, right? But joining this company meant that there was a whole lot to be done. Front end needed to be worked on, DevOps needed to be worked on. Then I think we're using Jenkins for DevOps, and a whole lot of things needed to be done, right? Our data pipeline also needed, because we were very, very heavy on data. And that's how I started learning a whole lot of skills. I learned React, I learned VJS, learned how to design, learned CSS and everything. And that's how I became somewhat a full stack engineer. So at the time I was getting carried away doing a whole lot. So imagine writing multiple languages, you start becoming distracted, right? You don't know here you should focus on. You don't know, okay, should I stay here? Should I move here? Until I think around 2019, I had to tell myself, Miracle, you need to think, right? 2019, okay, what's the strategy? How do you grow your career, right? So I had to set out a plan for myself. And I was just lucky, under a year, I got a promotion, right? And it had, we started having openings, right, in the organization. It meant you have to fill in, or they'll hire new people. So what happened was I had to fill in those spaces. So I had to increase my knowledge. I had to show that I had superior knowledge, more than the people they wanted to hire. Okay. And that's how I became that was my first step to becoming a senior software engineer. And so far, I think I've crossed over I've worked for a company outside Nigeria in same capacity. And I've also worked for 2 other organizations within Nigeria in the same capacity. And it's been interesting, right? Most times I look back and I see how I started. And I also see the accolades I get now. I see how I'm mentoring people. I see how I'm guiding people. And I then know that, losing Miracle Books in 2018 was, while it was hurtful, but then the experience was also interesting. And that's my story so far. Yeah. I don't know, was that an interesting story? Was the gist sweet? Was that just an interesting one?
Yes, it was, and also insightful.
Yeah, thank you very much. So let's go to why you should be a software engineer. I know we have a whole lot of people here who, I didn't write a whole lot of points here, just very few points. I didn't want to make this slide very big, all right? But we have a whole lot of people here who, really want to know, what is this buzz about software engineering? Why is everybody now is saying I'm a tech bro, I'm a tech sis, right? Why? So let's talk about it. So I think the number one thing that inspired me that I wanted to be a software engineer was because I was solving dynamic real world problems. And I started with Miracle books, like I told you. I was solving a problem. People were, finishing a 5-year course, and your course supervisor and your exam officer tells you that they can't find your grades. How do you, and most times you don't write those things down. So how do you show that you actually had these grades and this was it? So that was, I was fascinated that I was solving a real life problem. Number one thing is the high demand. Now, when I mean high demand, I mean, for instance, in the past government, Buhari's government brought in policies that stifled use of hard cash. What it meant was currently most Bolt drivers and Uber drivers you see, whenever I say your account number, they'll say OPay or PalmPay. So you see how there is high demand for software solutions, right? And generally, you pay for your Netflix using a card that you got online, okay? So I've seen this high demand in people want, there is more software problems to solve. So it means that more software engineers are needed, okay? Another thing why it should be is that because it changes the way people live and carry out daily activities, all right? Imagine onboarding a user on your app who is fraudulent, all right? And then you just integrate one KYC solutions by one of the providers, and you catch someone who has been committing fraud in probably 3-4 other places, and you save your company billions of naira, okay? And you brag yourself as the person that built this. Imagine having people carrying out billions of naira in transactions in the field, and they're doing this on software, something that is built by an engineer, right? You are literally changing the way people live their lives. Everybody here is addicted to their phone, okay? Which means you're always carrying your phone. People built it. The software that keeps you attracted to that phone was built by people, okay? They have changed the way you live your life. Another thing is that it can be self-learned to start. There's a reason why I mean self-learned knowledge can help you start. There is a start there, right? Because you don't really have to go to the 4 walls of the university to start. I'm stressing the word start, because when you grow in your life as a software engineer, and when you draft your plan, your growth plan, at some point you will need to learn. It might not be from the 4 walls of a university, but it might be from probably Coursera, for instance. You might have to register in a curriculum-guided learning strategy, right? It might also be a university. For me, I have a plan to go back to school, to be honest, because I know when there's a level, the way I've planned my life, there's a place where we can't just throw away the education guideline for engineering, all right? And then there's global recognition and global business opportunities. You can be in Nigeria, you can be working with teams abroad. You can build softwares in Nigeria that are being used by people outside of the country, all right? And then there's one last one, and I put it star. And I don't know who is going to guess this one. Who is going to guess it? What does star mean? Anybody here? Anybody? Let me see. Okay, somebody. Okay,
Money,
I think so.
money.
Okay. So some people, I actually didn't say that myself. Some people did actually say it. So tomorrow, let nobody say I said you should learn software engineering because you want to be for the money. I didn't say that. Other people said it, but then I just put star. So why should you not be a software engineer? It's very good to say, oh, it's very interesting. Wow, it's beautiful. Oh, it's all nice, but there are also some horrible parts of it. Okay. So number one is unhealthy lifestyle. For me, there was a time I had a whole lot on my desk. I was learning a whole lot and working, and I was having averagely a 14-hour sit time, right? Imagine me sitting for 14 hours. It was literally what it was. I was eating on my desk. I'll probably just stand up and walk around for a few minutes and sit down. And I was sleeping for about 5 hours or so. Then, just used about the rest of the 5 hours to do other things while sitting for 14 hours. And it's unhealthy. I still remember last year, 2020, the time I almost crashed. I had to just switch off and I ran out of Lagos. I needed to go and just calm myself down and, and I started having back pains. This time I was dealing with heavy back pains, right? And this time I was also not feeling well, unhealthy lifestyle because there's a whole lot to do. Then there's never-ending learning curve. So you can imagine when I started, I started learning the framework when I started software engineering called Code Igniter in PHP. And today almost nobody uses it. Like literally nobody. So I wasted about 1 year of my life learning and using that framework just for me not to use it again. Right? When I started, there's new technology coming in. Some of the technologies I used in 2017, 2016, some of them, nobody uses them again, right? So it means I have to learn the new one. So it's really try, and you're working, you have a whole lot of things you're doing. It's not as if you're less busy, but you need to learn, you need to grow. And I think that's why we see where the pay comes from. I think the pay comes because, you don't have a constant knowledge use, you have to learn. The more you have users on your platform, it means the more you need to learn how to manage those users, all right? Then limited social activity. I literally, at some point in my life, I didn't have any social life, and also you don't spend time with people you love. You see a software engineer who is married and his wife is always complaining, he doesn't have my time. So it's annoying. Then long working hours. One of the things I didn't put here was, people would say remote work is an advantage. It's actually not an advantage because remote work has even helped to elongate the working hours of software engineers. Your CEO will be calling your tech lead, your engineering manager will be calling meeting by 7 p.m., 8 p.m. And, you're working more than 9 hours a day. You're working more than 8 hours a day, right? And, then high-paced competition. Whether I would like it or not, everybody is competing in this space. We have this one today is telling you I just got this gig abroad. To you, to be as if you're not doing anything in your life. This one just there, I just got, I just became this, and I just, everybody just doing one thing or the other. Everybody's fighting for the top. You just find yourself every single day you're not resting. Yeah, immediately you're waking up, you're thinking, probably I'm being left behind. All right. And extreme competition. Everybody in the office is trying to prove this, is trying to, and it's crazy. But then, remember we're going somewhere. Remember, I have some people in this platform who are senior engineers. Some people are also mid-level engineers. Some people are juniors. And somebody say, how do I know that I'm growing? Or how do I plan my life? So let's talk about the next thing. Software engineering archetypes. Some people might not believe this. Some people might. But then let's talk about how you plan your career. Okay? So usually you start early career. You just start generally as whatever you start as. You might start with CSS. You might start with HTML. You might start with C++ like I wanted to do. You might start with Java. You might start with learning something outside programming. But then later you find yourself in programming. It's an early career. You just started. It's good. But then it's nice for you to plan. At least I need to be mid. I need to be, I need to have a mid-level experience. I need to work closely with people who are the seniors, people who are in the staff engineering bits, So that's where you get to a mid-level. You can do some things on your own. You can even draw a little bit of system architecture. You can design your data infrastructure, but it's not like your designs are very good. You can even lead development in a particular phase, right? But then at some point, you need to be a senior. You need to mentor people. You need to be in a place where people look up to you. You need to be in a phase where, you can guide a particular unit of work, right? Let me assume that they are building out one phase of a business. Let me say they want to build in loan into your business, and X person has to direct the activity in engineering, right? You have to provide the technical know-how for that. But then after being a senior for a while, you might be a senior for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But then after that, you need to grow. And that's where the hard decision comes. Because there we now have engineering management and we have what we call the staff plus, right? Now, in the engineering management bit of everything, right? You are more into people management. You're managing talents. You are, trying to explain, you're trying to lead the team to make sure that they have the right zeal to work. Okay. You're trying to understand your engineering talents. You're trying to make sure that they're as productive as possible. Okay. That's why we'll have the manager, engineering manager. We'll have the senior engineering manager. We'll have the engineering director, right? And as it gets closer, most of them continuously works with the business. Most of them wants to make sure that the business pressure doesn't kill the engineers themselves. They understand the psychology of the engineers. They're also in charge of, in the engineering management bit, they are in charge of driving processes. Okay. Should we utilize Agile? Okay. Should we utilize Waterfall? How is it going to impact the team? They are in charge of metrics, performance metrics, they know that. They understand the psychology of people that write software and people that build software. Then there is this bit called Staff Plus. That place will have the staff engineers, the principal engineers, distinguished engineers. And then there's a popular one that there are two roles that are very popular in Nigeria that I didn't put here. And those roles are the CTO, Chief Technical Officer, and also we have the tech lead. They are under Staff Plus, right? And once you get to that senior level, you want to ask yourself, the thing is that the Staff Plus role, they are usually hands-on. They don't leave the hard part of engineering. Okay, they are still hands-on, and they want to help, to guide the technical direction of everything, right? And then we'll have under that we'll have the staff engineer, right? We'll have the principal engineer, we'll have distinguished engineer, we'll have the CTO, we'll have the tech lead. We also have people who call solution architects under that. We also have people who call the solvers, right? And generally, in the staff engineering bit, there are people that have extreme technical understanding of a field. You can call them, you can wake them up one day and they tell you, this is how this thing should work. For instance, they can tell you how a server, or they can tell you how a load balancer should work, and they can configure load balancers. They can, deploy load balancers and make them serve traffic that serves 1 billion users, right? They have, for instance, they have extreme database capabilities. They are usually very focused on one problem and they are very good at it. But then they don't just solve those problems, they also train people. They bring that idea into people management too, right? So they handle juniors, they don't handle juniors. They handle seniors, mid-level, and they also sometimes they share their strategy with managers, right? That's where Staff Plus comes in. So in case you're thinking of, okay, how do I grow? How do I plan my career? This is something that I can research on. You can do more research about it and you can go ahead with that. Now, let's come into growing as a software engineer. I felt stuck sometimes, right? And I always ask, how do you know, okay, I'm stuck. How do I grow, right? And I'm going to pause here. Has anybody has any experience of being stuck? Has there been any time you felt stuck in your career? You didn't know what next step to take, or you just felt, okay, I didn't know what I should do next. I didn't know what was the next ceiling. Okay, how do I get past to the next place? Does anybody have that experience? Do you want to share on that?
Yes, I have. I have.
Okay.
Couple of I have. Yes, I have.
Yeah, speak to me, please.
At a point, it looks like I don't even know what I'm doing. Am I even getting the things right? One thing I told to myself was never give up. Success is not straight, and success is not a pathway. One thing that helped me navigate through that path was I was able to join communities, so I could see other people at my own pace. That was what has helped me, communities. and all, and ability to be open for new ideas. That was another thing that helped me.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I like the way it's very interactive. I hope we're all enjoying this session. Is anybody confused? Because I like carrying everybody along. Is anybody confused? If you're confused, you can raise your hand.
We're enjoying it.
We're enjoying it, right? Okay, that's beautiful. I like that. So then let's look at growing as a software engineer. How do we grow? And I'm going to list some points here. So the first point is work on what matters, right? So make the most out of your working hours. To be honest, you have very limited time. There's sometimes I ask myself, can the world change? Can we have probably 30 hours in a day? Because sometimes it seems as if it's not just enough. We're in July now. Yesterday was just like January, right? So what it means is I have very limited time. So what I do with your time? And I'll tell you, avoid snacking, training, and chasing ghosts. I might ask, okay, what's snacking, right? And I'll simply say, snacking, right, is when you're doing what is easy and low impact at work. Some of us are like that. Some of us don't like taking on challenges. You just want to take those small things and just collect your salary at the end of the month. You just want to, let me just do this simple thing. Let me show face. They'll be begging you to join meetings. When you join, you will not even talk. You will just say, let me just do the simplest thing I can do. And that's all, right? Don't do that. Don't be that person, okay? Learn to take on the challenges, okay? Also avoid pruning. Pruning is a type of slacking. It means you're doing low impact work. You're also doing very easy things, but you're making it look as if you're doing something hard. When it comes to stand up, you can speak the old English. You say, yesterday, I was able to debug the internal capacity of the server and find out intriguing information that didn't know existed. And in actual sense, you didn't do anything, but you've covered for time, right? Time is going. You are earning your salary. You're living life. You're probably renting the best houses in your area. And everybody's saying, oh, this guy is tech broke. But you know that in the next 5 years, your ideas are still. Use your time properly. Then secondly is write an engineering strategy, right? Write an engineering strategy. So you have to write a strategy for yourself. For instance, okay, what do you do? What do you do next? What is the next phase? How do I go about the next phase? Also, as a senior engineer, you might be experiencing a ceiling moment in your organization. A ceiling moment is then when, it seems as if you've gotten to the zenith in your organization, when everything seems uninteresting. But in actual sense, there's still a whole lot to do. And you're bragging your hands. I'm this, I'm that. There's no need for all those, right? Research, check out other companies, check out what people are doing outside Nigeria, speak to your peers. And also, I'm going to talk about something in the last point. Find out how you can drive or drive a change, or how you can build an engineering strategy in that organization, right? Then curate technical quality. Some of us just like things being so easy. You just want to learn HTML and you don't want to do anything else. Okay, you just learn CSS and you learn the list of it and you don't want to go far. You just learned SQL. You don't want to find out how to do complex joins. You don't want to find out how to write queries that are optimal. Okay, I can just join two tables and I'm okay. I'm good, right? You just want to do the bare minimum. No, you have to build quality. And remember where we're coming from, the definition of engineering. We are going there. Let me go back to remind you guys something. So in engineering, we talked about computer science professionals and engineering principles. We are going to treat that. Don't forget, computer science fundamentals and engineering principles, right? So create quality, go deep into learning more about computer science fundamentals. There's a reason why software engineering is a computer science field. There's a whole lot to know about the internal workings of systems. Learn it, right? Stay aligned with authority. most software engineers are very braggadocious. They are very cocky. They are proud. And most of them, they do as if nothing exists. Anything management is stupid. All they want to do is write code and get out of it there. No. Your role rely on proxy or direct authority. And your continuous access to those authority depends on how you stay aligned, trustworthy, and predictable. Today in a meeting, tomorrow you're not. How do you want to grow that way? You have to, respect the authority and stay aligned with it. Then to lead, you have to follow. So learn how to blend your visions with your peers and leadership. You're an organization. You have this strategic engineering growth pattern, and you're at the top. I don't want to blend it into what the organization stands for, right? Your own is cancel everything. Your own is, everything is stupid. And you are not being suggestive. You are being canceling, right? You are not trying to use that knowledge to drive change, okay? Stop it. Then another one is create space for others. One thing that have helped in my career is the ability for me to mentor and grow people. Recently I was just looking at the pipeline of people that have helped in the past 7 years. It's massive. I've been responsible for people moving from different states to Lagos. I've invested steadily in that. Also try to create that space for others and, share what you've learned. It helps you grow. Also build a network. Most of us are so self-centered, so selfish. I've never seen selfishness being preached on social media like it's being preached currently. They brand it as self-love. Everything is self. Everything is self. Love yourself. Don't give up that for other people. Don't allow people into your space. For you to grow as a software engineer, people will be in your space. Part of the requirements for engineering, for recruitment in engineering, is ability for you to work as a team, ability for you to allow people to come into your space and you're not angry. So for you to be successful and grow as a software engineer, throw away that mindset of selfishness. Don't say, me, it's just me alone. No. And I know this our new generation, they call them Gen Z. They are very big on that. Once they are making money, they don't want to hear anybody say anything again. Once they just pay them that few $1,000s or more, nobody is on the level again. No. With that way, you stunt yourself from growth because you chase people away, right? So don't do that, okay? Learn to network with peers. And I'm going to ask this question. All of you guys that are here, the past organization you worked with, how many of them do you still talk to? How many of your former colleagues do you still talk to? These are introspective questions. The first place you worked in since you started working, how many of them do you still talk to? The school you went to, your university colleagues, your secondary school colleagues, how many of them do you still talk to? Have you thrown all of them away? If your answer is yes, just know you're doing it wrongly. You need to build a network within, right? Everybody is using Tinubu to cite an example of how he's been able to build people and keep people. You can see people that have been with him since 1970s and 1960s. They are still around. Don't just leave an organization and throw everybody away. Everybody doesn't mean anything, right? Keep close contact, call people, speak with people, keep that network because it's going to be important, okay? So I know most people are here from the survey that was carried out. Most people are here because they are looking for opportunities. Most of them they need to change roles. They want to earn better, right? So I'm going to teach you guys how to find opportunities. So the first step is I'm going to write some active and passive ways. You can, there are things that are called active and passive, right? So the one active way, why I'm saying active is because it's things that you need to be very conscious about. So number one is improve your skills. Make sure you enhance the quality of work you do. How well do you know that field? Are you very comfortable with just knowing the surface and running with it? I used to have an addiction. I used to always go deep into what people have built to understand. I still have the addiction to understand how the thing works internally. Many of us, you just wake up and use a framework, right? You are the part of new frameworks. When a new framework is out, your own is, let's jump on it. Have you ever thought about how that framework works behind the scene? Have you taken out your time to learn it? To say, I want to go deep. I want to find out how this thing really works. I want to enhance the quality of code I write, right? Number one, Okay, so also, many of you are software engineers. When last have you thought about a new design pattern? When last have you thought about a new way of writing code? When last have you thought about how to optimize the code you wrote to be more efficient, right? Number two, you have to improve your soft skills, okay? Work on how you speak, work on how you communicate, work on how you lead, work on how you talk to your fellow people, work on how generally you lead your life as a human, okay? Because it eventually translates into your work ethics and also it translates into your career. Secondly, when you've worked on your skill, your hard skills, your soft skills, the next thing is you need to be less timid. You need to be tenacious. You need to be confident. You need to be audacious. Take risks. Apply to that company that they say you shouldn't apply. That place you are scared of. Put in the application. At last, what happens? You fail it. I have this funny story. The first interview I ever failed in my life was in 2020. I don't know. I always had things work out easy for me. I've been that lucky. Unfortunately, I failed an interview in 2020. I'm like, damn, I felt so bad. I was only seeing myself as a superstar, right? I'm like, God, what does this mean? I felt bad, to be honest. But, it gave me a boost to prepare more, all right? Number four, work on your computer science fundamentals. Remember I said in the definition of software engineering, remember I said computer science skills, fundamentals, professional, and also said engineering what principles. You can't escape it. You can't escape understanding what data structures are. You can't, even if you're a front-end engineer, even if you're a data person, right? A data analyst or a data scientist or a data, you can't escape knowing how data is being stored. Which data structure is used in storing data in probably MySQL or storing data in Oracle? What makes a NoSQL database different from an SQL-based database? How can I improve performance, right? Those computer science fundamentals. How do I write optimal algorithms to solve problems? Then the last thing is spend your last dime on your career. It's worth it. When I look back on how I finished my 25,000 naira salary on my career, I'm happy because today I'm probably earning more than that or probably way more than that. And it's all from spending that entire 25,000 naira. Some of you, you're earning your first 100K. You're not buying courses. Your own is buy Apple iPhone 12, right? Your own is to buy that smart wristwatch so that they will know you've arrived. I'm the new tech person in town. You're just 1 year or 2 years into your career. And I go to your Udemy or your Coursera page and there's no new course you're taking. I check your books and you're not buying any new books. You're not doing well. So spend your last dime on your career is worth it. So passively, right? Work on your social presence. I can't stress more than that. Probably the HR person can do more justice to this, but it has helped me, to be honest. There are two things that have helped me. One, my social presence. Number two, my network of peers. Those two parts have helped my life a great deal, okay? So learn the art of networking and peer networking. You have to. Networking is not to go and be disturbing anybody you see on the road and say, I want you to show me the next job I want to get. I get that in a whole lot and it's annoying. Somebody just texts me and the next thing saying, I beg any job you see, give me. You just met me yesterday. We've not even built a relationship. They want me to give you a job. How do I trust you that I can deliver? Okay. So you need to learn how to, be the art of networking. Suggest that you can do something for them free. Do you have any free projects? Let me join. Okay. I want to learn from how you do things. Then from that way, he sees that you have capacity and he can give you, when he has a recommendation, he can entrust you with that recommendation. Okay. Leverage opportunities. In your company, there's an opportunity, there's a new role that comes out, or there's not even new role, you are just there, you are doing the basic. Today you're writing API, tomorrow you're writing API. You are just building API and consuming API. There's DevOps to be done there. There's infrastructure scaling to be done. Your users of the software are complaining that XYZ is failing. You're not even taking initiative to go and fix those hardcore problems. You're only just to do the basic. You can't grow if you don't leverage openings and opportunities. So do that. So learn interviewing skills. To be honest, you need to learn interviewing skills, how to talk, how to generally how to interview. Make sure you learn it. You can get it on YouTube, you can get it on Udemy, right? Also target companies that align with your career plan. Okay, how do you remember initially we talked about drafting a career plan for yourself, right? So look up companies, investigate them, right? And then target them, right? Learn their interviewing platform, learn how they interview and work up to that. Then the last one, use LinkedIn. I can't stress this one. No. Use LinkedIn. It's very important. LinkedIn has helped my life. It can help more people, right? Again, I say what? Use LinkedIn. Finally, most of you want to work abroad. And that's what everybody's saying. I want to work abroad. So I'll tell you if you want to prepare, improve your computer science fundamentals. I would always say that. How good is your data structures? How good is your algorithm? How good is your system design skills? Can you design a system from ground to top? Okay. Learn the art of technical interviewing. How do you pair program? How do you write pseudocode? How do you communicate? Okay. Then lastly, learn confidence. A whole lot of us are timid. It's understandable. But learn how to be confident. Learn how to have clarity of speech. You can do those demos inside your room. Watch a whole lot of videos that have shown this. I learned most of this online. Initially, I didn't know how to speak so much to people, but then I had to learn it. You too can. Then lastly, these are websites I've curated that you can apply to get remote opportunities outside Nigeria, in case you're interested. So once you've been able to draft a plan from how we started, you've been able to improve your interviewing skills, you've been able to improve your computer science skills and your engineering principles, your understanding of engineering principles. The next thing is to find these opportunities, okay? So you can use these platforms here. I can share them probably later. I can probably also share this slide if anybody needs it. And cheers, probably tomorrow. You would probably take me out tomorrow and go and enjoy ourselves. So lastly, that's the end. I don't know if anybody benefited much. Are there questions? You can ask, you can type. I'll be looking at everything. Are there questions? Do I still have people here?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, please.
All right, my question is this: how do I grow to become a software engineer? Because I'm not into it. I'm into graphics. I'm into web design. So how do I get to this point where I can become this exceptional like you?
Okay, I would answer that. How to become, okay, let me quickly answer that. So firstly, you need to do your research. I would say start by research. One thing I always tell people that want to come into this field is research. What is software engineering? When you're researching, one thing it does is that it steers that hunger, right? Then after that, there are platforms you can use, okay? So once you've done your research, speak to your community organizer, speak to Chika, okay? I can, release materials on which platform you can use. And out of your research, first of all, I say you should do research. What sphere of software engineering did you find interesting and fascinating? Communicate with Chika, then I can provide guidance on how you can go along that path, okay? I hand is raised, I think one of our co-hosts, School Revs Life, yes?
Thank you. So I just want to make an addition. Sometimes at some point in career, you might have to make a key decision. You mentioned something around following through with new frameworks, updating your knowledge and the likes. At some point in the entrepreneurship journey, you might have to decide. That's where I think I've mentioned it before. The tech enthusiasts or developers, we usually fall in love with what we do. We love it. Most people in tech don't just code to get the money. Yes, we get the money, but we code because we love what we do, because it's trained us by default. So it's not like we just do it because we just want to get it by and just get our salaries and move on. But at some point in the entrepreneurship journey, if there's an entrepreneur, You might now have to delegate and move away from tech in order to focus on business and growth. And that's where that role of CTO comes in and some other key management roles where you have to now mentor somebody and hand over the technical part, and you go in the field and go and make the money. So I just want to add that to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Somebody, Aritek, I like that name, Aritek.
Okay. Thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
Your section was really insightful. So I got the lot. But my question is, how can someone that is interested in tech and presently none, you're working and your work is not related to tech and it doesn't give you time? That type of person, did you advise the person to resign and go learn tech, or how? Because what they're doing is not related to tech and I'm interested in tech. I want to go into tech fully. But the time is not there. The job is taking almost the whole time that they have.
Yeah.
So what can you advise in that? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's really a nice question. Okay. So one thing I'm going to really see, I understand Nigeria and I know there's this pressure. You have to feed your family, you have to send money home, you have to be alive. So I wouldn't even advise you to leave your work, because if you leave your work, how will you feed? Right? So I would give an advice from, when I was in school. There was a time I was pushing this thing called first class. Okay, they call it first class, Abi. Yeah. So and then I had to be in lectures, I had to be in class on this, and I also had to take assignments and everything seriously. It was a and then tech started, the passion started. I started coding actively, so it was affecting my school time and everything. So, but I couldn't just leave school because I was still above 4.0. So it's not as if I can just drop out and leave everything. So I had to draft a strategy, and which is optimizing time. Remember, I told you in your tech growth, right? One of the things I told you about was in your tech growth place. I told you work on what matters. You have very limited time. So what I would advise you do is learn how to create a timetable. I'm used to Nigerians. Nigerians don't know how to optimize time. And I'm being very honest. And I've mentored a whole lot of people, right? Nigerians can be easily distracted, right? They probably spend 1 hour, 3 hours on Twitter, okay? So what I advise is draw out a timetable. When do you go to work? When do you come back? When do you rest? When you're in the office or that work you do, when is your break time? Okay. If in an entire day it has 24 hours, let me assume you come back home by 7. What do you do from 8 o'clock till midnight when you sleep? The truth is, if you can bring out 6 hours from 24 hours and put it into coding each day, by the end of 4 months, you should have a reasonable skill. You can even build something at least reasonable, all right? So learn how to draw a timetable. This is when I work. At office, I have to also free time. Even if I can't carry my laptop to where I go to office, can I carry my phone? Can I revise some of the things I read yesterday? So within that 1 hour, 2 hours free time that you're chatting with your colleague at work, use it and do a revision. Then when I'm home, what do I do from 6 o'clock to midnight? Can I put in 5 hours, 4 hours before I sleep? That time you're using to go and drink beer, all right? Can I retain it? Then lastly, what do you do on your weekends? There was a time I had a strategy of working weekends. Weekends from Friday night till Sunday. I was putting in so many times. That was when I learned the ability that I can put in 14 hours at a stretch. Like, okay, but aside from eating and everything. And that I was using weekends to build test projects, right? So with that strategy, create a timetable. Inside your daily routine, try and bring out 4 to 6 hours, then optimize your weekends. And it's going to help. Thank you. So I have a question.
Thank you so much. Okay,
yeah,
because I was going to point you to the fact that we have a couple of questions in the comment section. And so do you want me to take them for you, or do you want to go ahead?
Yes, let me go through them. I think I can see them.
All right. Okay.
So God bless you, very good. Can we have your contact details? Yeah, I think my email was on the first slide, so I'll probably still leave it there before I leave. So you can send me an email if you want. So the second one is, since he's already a graphics person, I think, yes, okay, somebody asked a question, how do I transition from being a graphic person? Oh, unfortunately, I didn't reply this. Yes, so she answered that question. So you can easily transition into product design. It mustn't code, you know. You can grow so much as a product designer, so you can do that. So kindly advise on how I can transition to tech as in a total newbie. This software engineering is so interesting, but I actually want UI UX. Just like I said, always follow, you see that deep instinct that, you know, something that you're used to, right? If you follow it, it's interesting, right? So just like I said, when I talked about transitioning, I said the first thing you do your own research. Read up UI UX, read up software engineering, read up the different fields. Let the passion be self-inspired. Once that passion is self-inspired, then you can hit up the community manager, Chika, or any other person in the community that is managing the church community. Then we can provide guidance on how you can go within that new path that you found interesting. Okay. I don't know if I answered the question, Share. Okay, so I think School Rev's live hand is up, or is that a mistake? Does anybody have any more things to say? Any more questions?
Uche Okonkwo just dropped the question again.
Okay.
Thank you, Kwelumi. We see you. We really appreciate you joining. Hopefully you'll be around for the next session tomorrow for the tech entrepreneurs. So someone is dropping, Shaya says, thank you, sir. Uche Okonkwo wants to know, please, I would love to join the community. How do I get involved? What community are you referring to? If you're referring to the tech entrepreneurs community for the Covenant Nation group, I will drop my phone number. Right after the session, you can send me a message and then I'll share the link with you as well. Then he says, I'm already on a path with Python, but I'm daily discouraged.
Wow. So you can send me an email. Uche Okonkwo, you can send me an email. Just like I said, I'll show my email again. Or can also type it.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Then Ire, please go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Sorry, I sent the direct message.
Oh, okay.
I'm sending this.
All right, good evening, sir.
Yeah, hello, good evening, how are you?
Yeah, my name is Rita Biliakiola. I thank you for that insightful section. I have a couple of questions, actually. You mentioned something on computer science fundamentals.
Yeah.
So, because that looked like a general word. So, can we have example of that of those fundamentals? Something to just at least have at the back of your mind, so that when you are going through those, you know, oh, I'm going through the fundamentals of computer science. That's number one. Okay, go ahead.
Let me answer your question before you go ahead. Let me not forget it. So the first thing is learn how data is stored in your computer memory. Understand computer memory. You are building things that work on the memory. And learning how data is stored, that's where you have to learn about data structures, right? Also learn how data is manipulated, right? You should learn the best data structure to use and store data at a time, all right? Learn how this data can be manipulated in our code. What is the optimal way of dealing with it? How do we retrieve the data from memory? How do we keep it and use it, okay? Then learn about the operating system in itself, right? Because all these things you're building, the architect that helps your operating system, that helps your software run is the operating system. So knowing these are probably three, okay, then using that data that you just retrieve from a data structure properly is what we call algorithms, all right? I will leave it at these three. There are more I can say, but I don't want to make it too complex. But it is that once you start from these three, how data is stored, how data is manipulated, the best algorithms to manipulate data for different situations, then operating systems. All right. Once you start understanding these three, then you start going, you start build, it gives you, you probably want to add networking on top. All right. These four, with this foundation, it opens your knowledge for growth. Some people who are stuck in senior and mid-level, this is one of the things they are missing, because most of us didn't really go to school to do computer science. So sometimes it looks as if we're at a close. We're just building the basic. They're just telling you write JavaScript code that does this, because and it feels like that's the end. That's really not the end. By the time you start doing a part of networking, start doing a part of memory management, start doing a part of operating system, your desire will start growing again. Yeah. So your next question, please.
All right. So now some of the things you itemized during your talk was, to me, I don't know, but they kind of look complex, and I will explain. Because most freelancers who know how to do, who perhaps did not go to school or something, but know how to code and just does this website designing and all of those stuff, they don't look at some of those concepts you are mentioning, like maybe the city, all of those roles that you mentioned, how they do those things, and they still build some things and that work. So there's always there's a disjoint in what you are describing and being a freelancer, just designing for people. They don't probably go through all those complex processes of checking the software, whether it's working here or there. They just do something and it works. So is there something do they bring everything together, or do the corporate people bring more, as into, I don't know whether you get my question.
Yeah, remember what I told you at first. First of all, there were different demographics of people attending this meeting. There were the newbies, okay, the people who just started. Then there were the mid-level people who were here. Then there were some senior people who were a bit stuck, okay? And this conversation was for everybody, okay? So it was not just for probably just the newbies. The newbies are excited because they see there's a whole lot. But there's something that's called growth. Even as a banker, there's something that's called growth. You're talking about freelancers who just want to do the basic minimum and it works, and then they leave it. And that freelancer work at Twitter? Can that freelancer work at Facebook, at Instagram, where technology is being used at its sharpest? All right? So once you ask yourself that question, then you know that there is something that makes that freelancer different from those top 100,000 engineers that are killing it above. So I think that's the answer I'll give to your question. So while you might think that, and which is the mentality I say you shouldn't have, don't just have the mentality I'm collecting salary and I'm okay. I don't have to stress myself. I'm just making the basic minimum. The moment you start having that, that mediocre mentality, right? You probably just end up not doing it because you like it, but you just ended up just doing it because I'm making the bare minimum. Okay.
Thank you very much for that answer. Then I think this will lead me to the next, because sometimes I always wonder that perhaps if you, it will take people of experience to know that, okay, if I have 5,000 people on my platform, will it still be able to, will it not crash? I think there was an incident of recent that one of the president hopeful of America sometimes went on Twitter to do his announcement, and the what's it called, the event broke, and it was a discussion. So how do you know that, okay, because at the end of the day, maybe you get to that kind of level. How do you know that when you come up, okay, if I have a particular platform and maybe, because the natural knowledge that you have about it is that, okay, when I build the software, if it works, then if you join, if you launch, if you host it on a particular hosting service, then it should just work. But based on the discussion this evening, it has at least thrown light into it that there must be some things to be done for it to actually work properly in the global space, or perhaps in the national or global space. So
yeah, So if I'm to answer your question, it means I'll be going into very deep technical, very deep technicalities, which I don't think that's why which I don't think that's why we're here, right? It means I probably have start talking about scaling, start talking about everything around around architecture design and everything around it, right? Building for the first 1,000, the first 2,000, the first million users. It's a lot to discuss, okay? Which brings me to the next phase. You can, okay, so it comes with growth, right? It comes with growth, and you can send me an email in case you want us to have that conversation out of this platform, all right?
All right, sir. All right, sir. So I think maybe the last question I have is that because I realize one of the things that maybe people around people who actually are going into coding and software development is lacking is this kind of mentorship. That is, there should be like a big person that can just be showing them the way, okay, when you get here, this is how you do this. Not like you're having them as students, but they can always reach out. Like maybe perhaps we have a big organization that people can just come and intern, and in that kind of atmosphere, it gives them the room to be able to be shown around this and what to do here. And from there, they can go to build their own companies and do great things also. So I don't know if such opportunities will emerge in the nearest future. But so let me just turn this out, because you mentioned that you work in the fintech.
Yes.
All right. So are there specific specialty ones you need to get to? Because of course you can code, you believe that, okay, I should be able to do anything within that requires coding. But are there, for instance, you just know all these normal languages, PHP, you know database, you know all those stuff. Will it qualify you to just be in fintech, or there are some other skills specials you have to get on to be able to work in that space?
Yeah, definitely. Every role has its own specialties. Most times for you to see these specialties, generally there's something I do, and this thing has helped me a whole lot in my career growth, right? And what that is, even when I'm not planning to switch roles, right? I check out some organizations that I admire so much. I check out for their open positions, right? Let me give you an instance. I just go and check out Instagram. I go to their career page. I will see their senior software engineering positions. I'll see their managerial positions, or their staff positions, and I'll check out the requirements. You must do this, you must have this, you must do that. I am not planning to switch roles, but you know what it gives me? It gives me a mental picture of what this platform works on, what they intend, what they want their engineers to know, okay? And that way, it helps me in planning when I'm ready to plan my career for the next year or the next quarter, that idea I read, generally just looking at the career page, helps me plan what I need to learn, the next purpose I have, or the next purpose I'm pursuing. Okay. So this answers your question. There are specific things people should know to work in different organizations. You can't just wake up and be working in Paystack, right? From the first interview stage, some of these organizations have about 4 levels of interviews. From the first interview stage, probably will be bounced because you don't know the things that makes you qualified for that. So generally, make it a duty to check very big companies, check their career pages. Don't wait until you want to switch roles. Just gradually, randomly just check. It gives a mental model of what these people are building internally. And there's one last thing I do. I read tech blogs. See, sometimes I follow DigitalOcean, their tech blog, where they're writing about problems they faced, how they solved it. I follow, if I'm to open my browser, I have about 3-4 tech blogs that are just open, right? I follow them a whole lot. I read Cloudflare, I read a tech blog, a lot of them. Most of these database systems, most times I go and read Postgres database, their tech blog, because that way you know the type of work these people are doing internally, and that way you stay inspired. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So let's hear from Sheba Fashola. I think this might be the last question, right? Is there any more questions? I think we're 10 minutes beyond 1 hour, 30 minutes of our meeting.
Yes, we are. Shiba's hand is up. I think that's the only person that we should take afterwards. You've just attended to Iri. Iri, yes.
Okay, yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, my phone crashed. My baby crashed my phone, so I have to use my wife's phone. I'm actually Fashola Oba. So in case you're saying Shiba there, I'm not Shiba. That's my wife.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Miracle. That's a very great one. I have a question. It's partly business. So I'm a co-founder of a marketing and technology company. So we build software as well, but we do marketing for businesses and we facilitate partnerships. So it happens now that we use your product. So we facilitate a partnership for one of our clients that has chain of restaurants, but there's a problem. And the problem is there is a feature we want on your product that I see where you work on your product. I believe it will improve, it will help what the problem the restaurant is facing. Your primary solution is working. There's no problem with that.
Yes.
So there is another feature that I feel that is a challenge for this restaurant. And we see that, okay, if with your own device, we are able to have an access or something, it can even improve the value that your own POS solution gives to this restaurant because it's a challenge. So I'm not going into details because I don't know if really I don't know. So I'm just trying to cut it since I have opportunity to have access to someone that is in the senior team. I would like to see what could be possible. Maybe we can have a conversation on that outside here so that I can share what the details of this challenge or this opportunity actually is for
great.
the,
That's beautiful. And you're also lucky. We have Chika, and Chika is a top marketing person. So Chika can organize that meeting, right? Chika, I have a lead here, right? So Chika can organize and facilitate, and we can have it this week. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So
just please just drop your email address.
Okay. I should drop it right here, right?
Yes. Or if you are on the WhatsApp group, just send me a private message. I'm the one that has been texting you people all day.
Okay. I'll send you a message right now.
Thank you.
On WhatsApp.
Follow up with Chika, right? So that we can have it probably first part of next week, Monday, Tuesday, we shall have the meeting. Okay.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm looking through to make sure, do we still have more questions before we call it an evening? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, so I think that this is where we'll wrap it up.
Okay. Hello, good evening.
Oh, hi, Uche, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, the organizers. I don't know if you can spare me like 2 minutes to ask, or 30 seconds to ask a question.
Sure, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Uche. I'm speaking from Lagos. Okay, I've been listening, and I'm a member of TCN. But I want to ask, what career pathway in tech could someone in the healthcare industry take, going to the fact that she wants to transition from health into tech and incorporate tech in medicine? I don't know if there would be an answer to the question.
Yeah, so firstly, I wouldn't say there is, I wouldn't generally say that there is a crafted there's a crafted field in tech, which you're the one that say you're having issues with Python, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I wouldn't say there is a crafted way to go. because it's not written on sand, neither is it written casted on stone. Okay, so there is nowhere they say tech people coming, health people coming into tech should go this way. Neither did they say people coming from banking and finance should go this way. So I think it's all from passion, one, and doggedness, yeah, and audacity, right? You look at one, you might be inspired or you might be passionate. Just like somebody will say that Dangote is not passionate about. Number one, you might be inspired or passionate about it. Secondly, you might not be passionate, right? Just like someone will say that Dangote is not passionate about selling sugar because he might not be taking sugar in his house, but then he sells it still because of his audacity, right? So just like I said, you look up all the fields. In case you need reference, I think we treated, and some people talked about some of those fields while we were still on the call. And I think I also showed you some fields also in one of my slides. So you research about them. Which one tickles your fancy? Which one do you say, oh, this one feels like something I would do well at? But if you don't feel like it, because you really don't have to feel like it, right? Then you have to be very audacious. You have to just take the bull by the horn and say, me and this guy, is me and you today. Is either I die or you kill me, okay? And to be honest, for all of us here who are probably tech people, audacity has been keeping us alive. Sometimes I want to do something, my spirit is not willing. It's not something I enjoy doing, but I'll stay on it, I'll fail, I'll stand again, I'll do it again. It will be hard though. Sometimes it takes me months. Sometimes I'll sleep on it. Sometimes in my dream, I'll start dreaming about it. You understand? And then I come back the next day, probably after a few weeks, and I've solved it. So these are two approaches. Check through all the fields that are existent. Which one does your mind connect to easily? Which one do you feel very passionate about? If none of them resonates with your mind, pick up one, take the bull by the horn, and just be very, very audacious. If you fail, stand up. If you keep failing again, look for a mentor that will teach an easier way to get it done. That's probably what I was saying.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Uche, I was also going to chip in that, especially for people who are looking for where to start, I think that the familiar is a good place to start. And what do I mean by that? It's simply look at where you are as a person. What are the things that pique your interest? If you enjoy drawing, then maybe you might have what it takes to go into, say, maybe UI UX, designing the user interface of a platform. If you enjoy design, you could go in that light. So do your research, but also think of it from the standpoint of what's the thing that comes easy for me? And then from there, you can now plunge in further deeper into varying platforms. And see what you can do on that front. All right, I hope that you find that response is helpful. And yes, I think we are done for the evening. On this note, I would want to say thank you to every single person that has been here from the beginning to the very end. Thank you so much, Miracle, for doing this. I know how impromptu it was, and you were such a delight in accepting and just being here. Thank you so much for being here with us throughout and providing such amazing insight on all the questions, even the ones that border out of the subjects. I'm really grateful that you are doing this for the community. Guys, please let's appreciate Miracle for his time this Saturday evening. Unmute your mics. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miracle.
Miracle, God bless you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you, God
Miracle.
bless you. I just
Well,
connected
I'm
to
still
you on
looking for
LinkedIn.
how
That's
to connect to
great.
you.
Thank you for
I
the
need
great
your
work.
email. I need your email. So I'll
Thank
be
you,
able to
God
mail you directly, Mr.
bless
Miracle.
Fantastic. Okay, so per connection, I'm going to get his email address across to everyone on the group. How else can they find you, Miracle? That's if they don't want to just send you an email. If they want to follow your works, maybe follow you on social media, where would they find you?
Yeah, so I think I'm more active on LinkedIn. I'm also be active on Twitter, but then I'm not really very focused on Twitter. So let me drop my LinkedIn page. Let me do that. Yep. Yeah, so I'm dropping link to my LinkedIn page here.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much. I think on that note, we started with prayer. We're going to end with prayer because, again, the parents' organization is a religious one. And so, Mr. Larry, please, can you help us with a closing prayer?
Quiet, man.
That's a setup. All right. Thanks so much. Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you for these beautiful moments.
Thank you,
We
Lord.
know that when the word comes, sometimes, apart from scriptures, you use humans to talk to us. And we
Yes,
believe
Lord.
that today's session, you have instructed some persons in the way to go. The Bible says that you will hear your teachers clearly and you will hear a voice behind you telling you which way to go. Father, we know and we are sure that today, a lot of people have gotten more clarity in that vision you've given them. And we thank you for Mr. Miracle that you used as a channel to communicate that. We say be glorified in Jesus' name.
Amen.
And as we all go out there to take on the next steps and take on the next challenge and take on our mountains, we pray that you lead us and you guide us to success in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you, Jesus, for answered prayers. And in Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. We will see you tomorrow.
Amen.
Don't forget, our session for tomorrow is physical. So please come ready. It's hybrid though, but if you're in Lagos, the address, the details, I will reiterate it again on the group this evening. We'll be ready for you in the studio tomorrow. We'll also be streaming live. So come ready to learn. It is going to be power-packed. It's not
Thank
just
you. Thank you. Our community. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.